Hey there Dev Squad, Ryan here. In this video, we'll be changing the look of our online menu and its pieces, along with finishing up our main menu. We'll be editing the style of our online menu, creating a main menu widget, and making sure that our main menu is set up for all functionality. Let's get started. So first, we're going to jump into our online menu. Let's open that up. I've already got it right here. And then let's jump into the designer. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with the Find Servers buttons. So we can just open up our Find Servers scroll box and then edit this up. And we're just going to change the way this looks. So first, let's just add a different kind of background for our button. That's the wrong one. There we go. Make this a little bit darker. And then let's go ahead and select all of the text here. And we're going to change the typeface to light. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a background to our Find Servers button. So we can do that by grabbing a border, popping that in there, and then putting our horizontal box inside of a border. And then we want to make sure that the positions are set to 0. And then we can just kind of drag this out. We will change the brush tint, I believe. Here we go. And change this to like a darker color, a little bit darker than our button, but not black exactly. There we go. And then let's just make sure that this is dragged out so everything looks fine. Looks like we might need to add some padding on the top of these too. So I'm gonna have to do it one by one. Try 5. That looks about right. So let's just do 5 on each of these. Okay. And that's all we're going to do for our button. And let's go back into our menu, check it out. Looks pretty nice. So we're going to leave it like that. And then we're just going to actually make this Find Server scroll box a little bit bigger. Try to keep it in the middle. There we go. Now we're going to work on some of our online menu. So we can just go down here to our buttons. And then we're going to set the background color to a darker color. We can copy this. Do the same with this one. And then we're just going to make sure that the typeface on these is light. We're actually going to add another horizontal box to this. We can just pop that in our canvas panel. And then we're going to drag this down here, anchor it to the bottom center. And then let's go ahead and make the size X to maybe 500. Let's see how that looks. Now let's do 500. Then position X, -250. And this we can set to maybe -100. I think that'll work. Now what we're going to do is grab our 2 buttons here. And we're just going to put those into that horizontal box. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add some padding between these. So let's just add padding to the left. Let's say, the right. Try that. Nope, I have to set this to 0, I guess. That should be fine. So let's go ahead and make this a little bit smaller, maybe 440, and then we'll do -220 instead. And we're just going to drag this down. And there we go. We can now save and compile this. One more thing we're going to do before we move on. Actually, two more things. We need to change the background color, and then we're going to edit the style of this little close button too. So in our border, just go to our brush color, and we're going to change our alpha to something like 0.65. And that way we can still kind of see through the screen, but it still has a clear background. So lastly, just go ahead and change the look of this button. So let's set the background color to something darker. Actually, we're going to go with the same color as we had for the buttons. We can just click on our button there, right click, copy, and then that is the text. Let's just paste this background color in there. There we go. It's looking nice. So now we can save, compile, and we're going to move on. Now that we finished up with our server finder, we're going to go ahead and move on to creating our main menu widget. So let's just right click here, user interface, add a new widget, and let's name this main menu. So inside of your main menu, this is going to be pretty basic, but we need to create a border here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to add a simple title for main menu and then add 2 buttons for online and then quit. Let's go ahead and anchor this to the center. Make this be 300, 500, let's try that, by 300. And then we're just going to do -250 and -150. Now we're going to grab a horizontal box, or actually need to grab a vertical box. We're going to plug that in there, and like it's scaled all the way. Now we're going to add a text inside of our vertical box. Let's just go ahead and make the border a little bit darker. There we go. So text, and then we need our horizontal box. Okay. So for the horizontal box, we are going to put 2 buttons in there. So 1, and then get a text. And then we're going to duplicate that. And the first text is going to be online. The second one is going to be quit game. For the text, we're going to align it to the middle. And we're going to type in main menu. And then for these buttons, we need to add padding to our horizontal box. So we know this box is 300 pixels. So we're just going to put it maybe 150. Try 200. Perfect. And then for this button, just going to add some padding to the left. A little bit of trial and error, so there we go, 200 will do. So let's go ahead and change the style of the text really quick. Make this light. And then for the buttons, we're going to change the background color. Make this a bit darker. Actually, let's just copy this so it's the same. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to actually add our online menu to this screen. So we're just going to anchor it to all four corners, make sure the offsets are set to 0. And we do want this to be in front of our menu, so we're just going to leave it how it is. And then now we need to, need to find our buttons first. So let's go ahead and hide that really quick. And then click on your button for online. And not on pressed, but on released. So on released, we're going to grab our online menu ref, and then we're going to call show. Okay. Then we can go ahead and go back to the designer, find our quit menu. That's that button. And then on released, we are going to drag off of this, execute console command. For the specific player, we're going to get owning player. And then the command that we're going to run is called exit. We can save, compile that now. And then we're going to turn on the visibility of this. We're going to go into our online menu. And then inside of the behavior, we're going to set the visibility to hidden. Okay. So you can actually close out all of these now. And open up your main menu level. I've got it already open here. And we're going to navigate inside of our level blueprint. Inside of our level blueprint, we just need to do a couple of things. So we're going to create widget. We're going to find our online menu. We're going to find our main menu. Let's click here. Plug that in. Okay, and for owning player, we're going to get the get player controller. That's just going to be 0. We're going to add to viewport. And then we're going to drag off of this and set show mouse cursor. Okay, we can save and compile that now. And now we can go ahead and press play. And we can see our online menu. So we can go ahead and click online. And our server settings is going to show up. Looks like we forgot to hide our host server UI though. So we can go ahead and test that out. Buttons are working. Like searching. Having some issues. Let's close out of this. Quit game. And as you can see, that's closing down correctly. So let's jump into online menu. And then inside of online menu, we're going to click on our host server. And then let's just make sure that the visibility is set to hidden. Save and compile that now. So we need to actually correct an error that I made. A simple error, basically, inside of our find server scroll box, we have this check to see if we're searching or not, and we actually need to drag off the false. All right, so now we are ready to test everything out. However, something to keep in mind is that when you're using the multiplayer function of the engine, so this part right here, each client is automatically assigned to a server, which is then hosted by the in-editor viewport client, which is this one. So for testing, you either need to host using the in-editor viewport, which will disconnect all clients automatically, or you can call a quit to menu from the game instance, which will disconnect them manually. So I have something like this, which is just a simple blueprint Again, this is not necessary, but I have a simple blueprint that has a utility called join testing, and all join testing does is gets our game instance, gets the player controller at index 0, and then quits to menu, which is disconnecting the server from the client. So that's how you can do it manually, but again, if you don't want to mess with any of that, all you have to do is just use the in-editor viewport to host instead of the client. So now we can go ahead and check out what it looks like. So let's just press play. And we'll go in here and we can select online, host, type in something for the server, and as you can tell on the top left it just said connection lost. So that is an indication that the client has been disconnected. And if we try doing that on the other side, so let's bring over our preview client 1 and then host, you'll notice on neither screens do we get a disconnected from client. So that's kind of an indication that everything's going the way it should be. So we'll again host, connection lost, and then we can online search for another server. There we go. We can press join. And as you can tell right now, we don't have any input, and that's fine. We're going to fix that. We also don't have a character, which we are going to go over in the next video. But let's go ahead and let's fix one thing really quick. We have a quit to menu function in our game instance, and it's not referencing our main menu yet. So we need to make sure that's updated. Let's just go ahead and find our quit to menu function. There we go. So open level, and the level that we want is multiplayer main menu. There we go. Save and compile that now. And now our quit to menu should work. Okay, so now that we have that done, we're going to move on to the final piece of this video, which is fixing that no input state. So right now, when you join a server, your player has absolutely no input. And we're going to fix that by adding some logic to our join session node in the game instance. So we already have our game instance open. We can just open this up again, find our onSuccess right here. And then for onSuccess, we're just going to get our owner ref. We're going to set show mouse cursor. Set this to false. We'll put that on the success node. And then we are also going to set input mode game only. And we can hook that up, save and compile. And now when we press play, we can go ahead and join test again. So let's just host the server. There we go, we can move around, go into our other one, search for our server, and we can join. And now, as you can tell, we can freely move around. We don't have a character yet, but that's fine. So we can also do one thing really quick. We can show that this is replicating. So if I put this over here and then kind of move the character around, you can see that the character is moving. There's no pitch replication yet, which is another thing we're going to fix in the next video. Alright everyone, that's the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed the video and learned something new. In the next video, we'll be going over the basics of how to use replication and implementing some replicated features into our project. Thanks for watching, stay awesome, and keep creating.